Tatum. Oh, the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm a proud American from my birth to the grave. 47's the top, took a bullet for all. Didn't flinch, didn't run, still the answer the call. And we say, be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum Show. Be tight, be tight, be tight. Officer Tatum Show.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen and ladies? Welcome back to the Officer Tatum Show. I hope y'all having an incredible Friday. We got a few things that we want to talk about. One is that I found a video of a pilot. Someone from Instagram suggested that I listen to this pilot. He's an experienced guy. He has a YouTube channel. I forget his YouTube channel now, but we'll pull him up in a minute. And he gives a articulated synopsis of what he think happened as a former pilot. He may still even be piloting, but he gives a synopsis of what he think happened in the crash, because I can't get over it. Every time I think about it, every time I look at it, there's new footage from CNN that has come out, and you can see it a lot closer, and it's just completely suspicious. I mean, everybody knows, and I'm anxious to hear, because we both are going to hear for the first time. I'm anxious to hear what the gentleman has to say, because most of the aircraft, fly at about 200 feet, and this one's at 400 feet, and end up colliding directly with the aircraft. And it seemed like at some point they should have seen each other. Obviously, the Black Hawk helicopter could maneuver better than an airliner that's traveling at 200 miles per hour almost. And so it's all very suspicious. And also, we're going to talk about the fact that conservatives especially need to be mindful that it's not always expedient for you to go viral, right? At some point, you have to make sure that you verify the things that you put out. People have been saying that the pilot of one of the aircrafts was a transgender. First and foremost, it doesn't matter if the person is a transgender or not. Who cares? And second of all, the person wasn't even on the plane, but people were spreading that lie. Let's pull up the YouTube video first. So this is the gentleman who's the pilot. Let me look at his name, because I don't want to do him a disservice. Let's see which follower sent this to me. 1 second, I want to make sure I give her Shelly. Shelly sent this to me, and it's Captain. I think it's Stevie. Captain Stevie. All right, roll the clip.
Here's what happened last night. I'm able to secure the actual audio from the incident over the Potomac last night. Let's listen in together.
79, contact Stone Park, good day. Okay. American 3130 for the final.
You're going to see a back and forth now between Reagan Tower and the various aircraft that they have lined up on approach into the airport. This happened at about 8:46 p.m. Last evening, and you can see there's several airplanes lined up. That's typical coming in about that time of night at Reagan. They're talking to American Airlines 3130, which I think is number 2 for the runway. They're telling them to slow down to their final approach speed because they're separating everybody on the way in. It's going to turn out that American 3130 is a key player in what happens here.
Well, American 3130. Pat 25, traffic just off the Wilson Bridge is CRJ.
Pat 25 is the helicopter that ran into the CRJ 700. It was a PSA flight. The flight number is 5342. It would go under the call sign Blue Streak 5342. You don't ever hear them talking to tower. They've already been cleared to land on runway 33. So they would come in on an approach on runway 1, and then they would kind of circle the land on runway 33. It's a little shorter runway, but they take some of the regional jets and they put them on that runway. Pat 25 is the Black Hawk helicopter that is just south of the Woodrow Bridge, and they've just taken off. They're airborne. The tower is saying to them, there's traffic. It's a CRJ. It's at 1,200 feet. lined up for runway 33. Do you have that traffic? Pat 25 is going to call back and say yes.
It's 1,200 feet, start runway 33.
Pat has a traffic in sight requested.
Pat 25 says, has the traffic in sight, request visual separation. What that means is that they're going to take responsibility for visual separation from that aircraft. What happened? Here's what I think happened. This is not the final word on it, but what I think happened was it was at night. There's several airplanes lined up. There is that Blue Streak 5342, which is a CRJ that they ran into. Right behind them, just a few miles, is American 3130. Everybody has their lights on as they're coming in. I believe the helicopter looked at the American 3130 and said, I've got the traffic in sight, and they never saw the airplane, the CRJ that was right next to them. That's my conjecture on what happens.
Visual separation.
This separation proof. American 1630 tower, runway 1 lock void, traffic throughout, start runway 33, dispatch 16 off funnel.
So this is typical stuff that's going on in a busy airport. They're lining somebody up to take off. They're saying, pay attention. I'm going to give you an immediate takeoff here. I've got traffic lining up for runway 33. That's the CRJ that got ran into. And he's on a 6 mile final. It might be somebody even behind him, but they're lining everybody up to take off and to land.
Please keep 5307. Keep rolling out to November, ground 47 today.
You can see at the bottom of your screen there, the CRJ, the Blue Streak 5342, they're beginning to now kind of come out a little bit to line up to runway, to land on runway 33. They're not going to go right straight down the river. They got to come out a little bit wider and come in. But remember, Pat 25, which is up here, the helicopter at the middle of your screen, they've already said, we accept responsibility for visual separation.
American 1630 1 star 32014, Duck 25, traffic 2 mile left base, runway 33, no delay, runway 1 clear for B to
There's
take off.
American to take off.
Clear for takeoff, American 1630.
Here it comes.
CRJ in sight.
Now the tower is seeing what's happening, and they're saying, do you have the CRJ in sight? Because you guys are getting kind of close. And the Pat 25, the helicopter, says once again, yeah, and I'm asking for visual separation. Okay, the responsibility is on you then.
Hold on.
Pat 25.
Right before they crash. I hope that, I wonder, are you guys catching all of this that's going on? So the map that he's looking at is potentially something similar to what the air traffic controllers are seeing. They can see this, they see patterns, they know where everybody's at. So don't get it confused to think that they're out there guessing and they're looking out the window at the planes. They got a thing that they're looking at where they can see where aircrafts are going, which one coming in, which one coming out. And they control everything in the air. They can tell an airplane to slow down. You're landing too fast, you got to slow up. You're landing way too hot on the runway. If like I was on an emergency landing flight, which was scary as I don't know what. They ended up flying out and circling in the desert and didn't tell us for 45 minutes. I knew something was wrong because I fly all the time. And they're going left turns only for 40 minutes straight. And I didn't know if it was an equipment thing. I didn't know if the landing gear wouldn't come out. I didn't know what it was. I just was hoping that it wasn't going to crash. And I had 40 minutes to ponder over it and pray and ask for forgiveness before it. And what happened was, because I watched guys like him, not him, but I watched other guys like him, and they had to burn off fuel. They didn't tell us that, but I know from watching these guys that they had to burn off fuel because they needed to go back to Arizona and land. And so you land with a plane that heavy, they got to put you on the longest runway, and you're going to run right off the runway and kill everybody. Because it's supposed to have enough fuel and weight that you could travel all the way to Florida, which was where I was going. And then by the time we get to Florida, it's a little bit lighter. So anyway, this is what he's describing as air traffic control is telling the chopper or the Black Hawk that, do you have visual? Because they see that this is looking close. The Black Hawk pilot is saying, I have visual. So now, to me, it's going from a thought process of thinking that it was possibly air traffic control to now the Apache helicopter. And I said this at the beginning that I thought it was very weird that the helicopter couldn't have maneuvered because some of this had to be in sight. Now we know that it wasn't air traffic control and that it was, in fact, the problem probably came from the Apache helicopter. Not the Apache helicopter, but the Black Hawk helicopter. And this is where it gets interesting. Roll the clip.
That's fine, it's CRJ.
This cloud has a aircraft in sight, request visual separation.
Okay, so Pat 25 says, has the aircraft in sight, request visual separation. I don't think they had these guys in sight. I think they had the airplane behind them in sight. That's why this is such a tragedy.
American 4782 by Baton number and visual.
American 472, Austin Tower, 1 star, 32017.
So you hear somebody in the tower go, oh, and they see what just happened. As you can see in your screen here, the collision took place. The tower has seen it happen in real time. They're human beings that are reacting just like you and I would. The helicopter ran into the CRJ. The CRJ's airspace was their airspace. In front of them, behind them, on both sides of them, it was a responsibility of the helicopter to maintain visual separation. They even told him a couple times, do you got him in sight? Do you got him in sight? He said, yep, got him in sight. I'm accepting responsibility for the separation. And I think just like when you're driving in a car and you look and you see a car behind the one that almost hit you, you see that car and you didn't see the one right here. And when you turn out in front, sometimes there's a collision. It's really tragic when this happens in an airplane. Again, it's been decades since there's been a mid-air collision in this country. This is such an unusual circumstance to take place. It's such a tragedy. It's been 12 years since there's been a fatality in a commercial airliner here in the United States. That's unprecedented. And that wasn't a mid-air collision. That was just an accident. This is a mid-air collision, and this hasn't happened in forever. So now we know what's going on here. Pat 25, the helicopter, accepted responsibility for visual separation. They probably had their eyes on the airplane behind them, and then they tragically ran into these guys.
Tower, did you see that?
American 472. American 3130, go around, turn left in 250, climb maintain 3000.
So now what happens from the tower's perspective is they have to work through denial pretty fast. They just saw this happen in real time in front of them. They're human beings like the rest of us. They're kind of in shock. But they've still got airplanes coming in. They've got American Airlines 1630, which just took off. They've got to hand them off to departure. They got American 3130 that's coming in. They got American 472 behind them. They got to do something with these airplanes. Right? The airplane port is going to be shut here in a second. So they're going to start telling all these guys to go around while they're trying to handle the emergency and get the emergency equipment out. And all of that is, everybody's kind of in a little fog for a few seconds here while all of this is taking place. The tragedy of it hits you hard, and they're very professional. Watch how they handle this, but man, they're busy.
Okay, left heading 350, 3000, American 3130.
Tower, Blue Streak, 5347 is on final. Request runway 33, circle to 33.
Tatum heading for American 3130.
American 3130, go around, turn left in 270, climb maintain 3000.
270 on the heading, 3000.
See how fast he's talking? He's trying to get all these other airplanes out of here.
Crash. This is alert 3. Crash.
Okay, what's MWAA? It's the Metro Washington Airport Authority. Every airport has some sort of governing authority over it. Many times it's called the Port Authority. Up in Boston, it's Mass Port, right? In New York, it's the Port Authority. Down here in Washington, it's the Metro Washington Airport Authority. They're now announcing officially there's a crash. So they go over the radio and they broadcast to everybody. The tower is the main recipient of this, that there's been a crash. He's going to repeat that. That puts a whole bunch of things into motion all at the same time. The fire crews now are going to jump in their uniforms. They're going to get in their fire trucks. They're going to drive to where the crash is. There's going to be details about this coming, but this whole thing is very frenzied and happens very fast. But these are really highly trained professionals. They do a really terrific job.
Alert 3. Crash. This is alert 3.
And alert 3 is a crash.
Oh, shit. Where's the alert 3? It is off the approaching the runway 33. Approaching the runway 33. Helicopter crash. Helicopter. Copy out this morning. Crash. This is alert 3. 2 helicopters.
Okay, so again, fog of war. The first report that they get is that it's 2 helicopters. They're going to clarify this really quickly because the tower is talking back and forth to them. The tower's going to say, nope,
we could watch along. This guy's doing so well at explaining this, but I don't want to spend the entire live stream. But I think he got to the point. We'll put the link to this video, Trent, whenever you can. Put the link to this video in the description section. Therefore, people can go on and watch the full video where he explains. About 20-minute video. And I think he did a really good job of explaining so we can put these things into context. So Noah's probably have nothing to do with trans and all this other stuff that people are conjecting into or interjecting into this situation. That's one thing. Only criticism I have of Donald Trump is that I just wish that when the stuff happened, can we just leave the DEI stuff out of it just for a minute? Can we just say we want to RIP to the family? Let the pundits and stuff talk about it. But from the White House, you want to leave that stuff alone until we start investigating. Because what you don't want to do is for everybody to go in a frenzy and start talking about DEI and start talking about, the air traffic controllers. And now people are probably sending them death threats and hate mail to the air traffic controllers because they doing all this DEI stuff, which the actual air traffic controllers probably have nothing to do with it. It's these idiots at the top that want to be woker than thou. And whether the pilots are DEI, I mean, none of that matters until you understand what happened. So now that we've seen it, I don't know if this is official, but he had a pretty good articulation of what happened. It seems like whoever was flying the American Airlines regional jet had nothing to do with this. So whether they were DEI, trans, or not, it appears that they had nothing to do with it. You're at air traffic control. They're traveling almost at 200 miles per hour. They can't see a Black Hawk. It's stealthy. It's a military helicopter. And air traffic control seems to have it on lock too. Do you have visual? Do you have visual? And then the helicopter seems to take responsibility that they will avoid colliding into the plane because air traffic control can see what looked like it's about to happen. And that Black Hawk can maneuver pretty stealthily, like or rapidly or tactically. It can avoid it at the last minute if it had visual, like the person reported. Now we're left with saying, who was the pilots on the Black Hawk military jet or aircraft with the helicopter? And then we can go down the rabbit hole. Then we can go down and see who was the main who was the one responding, who was the pilot and who was the co-pilot and what was the mission and what was the training. And then you find out, oh, this person was a DEI person, or they hired and they weren't qualified and they had reports that they were saying that this person has crashed a few aircraft or something crazy. Then we can start getting knee deep in the conspiracies. But I want to play one more clip of the new footage that we have, just in case people didn't see the new one. You can see kind of what happened a little closer. You can actually see the helicopter fall down in the water. Viewer discretion is advised. If you got a weak stomach and you don't want to see this crash, I'd say just go away and come back in a few seconds. But we'll show it. It's not going to show any persons or anything. It's just a close-up crash that could be sensitive to certain people. Roll the clip.
By CNN show previously unseen angles of the collision between an American Airlines flight and a US Army Black Hawk helicopter. In the first video, the Black Hawk can be seen flying at speed over the Potomac from the left side of the screen. The American Airlines plane can be seen flying towards the airport before the two collide, causing a mid-air explosion and fall into the river. In the second video, you can see the Army helicopter and American Airlines plane travel toward each other.
I don't.
After the collision and subsequent explosion, the airliner can be seen spinning into the water, and the Black Hawk is also seen falling into the water.
Now, play that again, Trent, no sound, just for some B-roll. This is where it gets jiggy to me, is that I can't see how the gentleman explained it very well. I've never been a pilot in a helicopter like this. I've been in a helicopter before, and I also been in an airplane. I've been on a smaller one, a private jet before. I've seen the cockpit and I've seen some of that stuff. But I don't understand how that light on that commercial airline is like looking at the sun. I don't understand how somebody didn't have visual in that helicopter of that airplane, which is coming from miles away. I mean, we could see it for at least 3 or 4 seconds. They had to have seen that airplane. So I can't wait till they investigate. I hope it wasn't somebody who intentionally hit this aircraft. RIP to the family that are involved. I mean, that's horrific. I mean, I fly all the time, and my worst nightmare is crashing in an airplane. But like the gentleman said, and I want you guys to have a little bit of comfort in knowing that this is rare. I mean, there's millions of people flying on an aircraft. There is tens of thousands of aircraft flying every single day. I think it's probably 14,000 of them in the sky as we speak, or at least that travel through the sky. So it's very rare. If you're flying an aircraft, it's more likely you're going to run into somebody and have a catastrophic event in your car than you would on an airplane. So don't let it work you up too much and cause you to be more afraid than maybe you should be. But I'm gonna end that talk because I don't want to get too deep into the crap about it. I don't like the fact that people are jumping to this DEI stuff. I didn't like it. This is the wrong one. It's the wrong date. Trent, can you give me the new date? The new one on the new date for the content today.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a day old.
Oh, no. It's halfway down the list, actually. The starting headlines are halfway down. You should say segment.
Okay, I see it now. Okay. All right, perfect. All right, Trent's second day, man. He killing it though. He doing a great job. I don't know how he do it by himself. Nick, if you're watching this, you better get your butt back here. No, I'm just playing. Trent doing a great job. All right, let's see. Let me go down to the pilot segment. We did that one. And now we're going to talk a little bit about the RFK hearings because him and Bernie Sanders got into an exchange, and the irony, right? You would think the Bernie man and some of these other Democrats, you would think that they would be lockstep in joining RFK in fixing the healthcare system and the fraud that's within the healthcare system and Big Pharma. You would think, you would ponder in your mind that the people that claim that they are for the people and make billionaires and millionaires and billionaires pay their fair share, you want to make them pay their fair share. They're going after big government, and all of a sudden you got a problem with it, Bernie. All of a sudden you got a problem with it. Roll the clip.
And I find myself in the unusual and uncomfortable position of having to agree with Senator Cassidy's line of questioning. Mr. Kennedy, in an interview in July 2023, you stated, quote, "I do believe autism does come from vaccines." And you have, the end of quote, and you have praised a gentleman named Andrew Wakefield for his research. What studies, you talk about the need to be science-based, to get our information, good information to make decisions. What studies have you utilized to come to the conclusion that vaccines cause autism?
I'm happy to sit down with you.
No, please, just answer me that.
I mean, look at the Mawson study, Senator.
The what? Yeah.
Mawson, just look at that study.
Yeah, I will, and that was published.
But I don't want to, I wouldn't rest on a single study.
Right.
And all studies can be methodology.
Okay. Don't mean to be rude. I don't have a lot of time.
Just saying
you would not be, I just heard you say you could not be happier if you were proved wrong. Mr. Chairman, I asked to put into the record 16 studies done by scientists and doctors all over the world saying that vaccines do not cause autism. Are you happy with that objection?
Look at the IOM assessment of those 16 studies, Senator. The IOM has assessed them. But listen,
let me get to it. Don't have a lot of time. I apologize. I'm happy to talk to you at another time. Don't have a lot of time. Let's talk about COVID. And I just want clarity on the issue. Again,
we'll get to COVID here in a second, but as you can see, it's clear bully debate tactic for you to pose a question to a guy unbeknownst to him, this evidence that he's entering into the record on the spot, that RFK didn't even have a chance. Thank God RFK is smart enough that he knows about these studies. He didn't have a chance to rebut anything. But you want to give him a chance to respond to it. You say you don't have enough time. He responded to it and said the 16 studies aren't even verified. There's no oversight on the 16 studies. The pompousness of these politicians to just make an assertion to say, oh, it does not cause autism whatsoever. Our RFK is saying this is what he believed based on things that he's seen, but why can't we do the research into it and verify unequivocally that it doesn't cause autism? What's the problem with that? Roll the clip.
Apologize, you have to be brief. We don't have a lot of time. Scientists have estimated that the COVID vaccine saved 3 million lives.
Which scientists?
President Trump said the COVID vaccine was, what, quote, one of the great miracles of the ages, end quote. You have said the COVID vaccine was the deadliest vaccine ever made, end of quote. Was the COVID vaccine the deadliest vaccine ever made?
The reason I said that, Senator Sanders, is because there were more reports on the VAERS system, on the Vaccine Adverse Event Reporting System, which is the only surveillance system, and VSafe. And there were more reports of injuries and deaths than all other vaccines combined.
But was it the scientists said it saved 3 million
According
lives?
to VAERS. I don't know, because we don't have a good surveillance system.
So you disagree with the scientific community that...
Oh, I'm agnostic because we don't have the science to make that determination.
Really? Okay. Prescription drug prices in America, as you know.
And by the way, I think President Trump did an extraordinary job on warp speed because he wasn't just focusing on that one intervention. He was focusing on...
He called it a miracle, but you have cast doubts on its efficacy. All right. Prescription drugs.
So?
We're going to make America healthy. I agree with you that we need a revolution in the nature of food in America, physical exercise, etc. Very, very important. But there are people who are going to get sick, and they have to go to the doctor and find out why. 1 out of 4 Americans today cannot afford the prescription drugs their doctors prescribe because we pay by far the highest prices in the world for prescription drugs. We made some progress under the Biden administration of negotiating prescription drug prices with Pharma. First time that's ever happened. Now, yesterday you told me that the White House was going to issue something affirming their support for continuing those Medicare negotiations. Turned out not to be quite accurate. They came up with some bland statement, could have been written by Pharma. Very specific questions. Do you believe and will you insist that Medicare continue to negotiate prices with the pharmaceutical industry so we can substantially lower prescription drug costs in America?
President Trump has made it very clear to me that he wants to negotiate prices.
Negotiate is a big word, Bobby. It's a big word.
It's the word you just used, Senator.
Yeah, but no, I use defend a particular law. Will you defend the law in the Inflation Reduction Act, which already is negotiating prescription drug prices?
President Trump wants us to negotiate drug prices. He wants to lower drug prices.
So you're not telling me that you will defend the law that we passed, which has already had significant success?
Well, Congress, look, I'm going to comply with the law, Senator. Congress passed the law. I'm swearing an oath to the Constitution. I'm going to comply with the laws.
You're going to have a significant influence on health care policy if you are.
And I'm going to comply with the laws.
Let me just say this in conclusion, Chairman Cassidy. President Trump and Mr. Kennedy are quite right when they say that our system is broken. They're right. Our economic system today is broken. 3 people own more wealth than the bottom half of American society. Wages have been stagnant for American workers for 50 years. The economy is broken. You know what? Our political system is broken and corrupt. You have a handful of billionaires in both political parties who contribute huge amounts of money to elect candidates in this room throughout the United States Congress. That is a broken political system and a real threat to democracy. Our healthcare system is broken. And it's broken for some of the reasons that Mr. Kennedy indicated. We have not paid attention to the fact that we have massive amounts of chronic disease. We have not answered the question why in the richest country in the history of the world, our life expectancy is lower than it is in countries far poorer than we are. So I think in many ways, President Trump and Mr. Kennedy have asked some of the right questions. Problem is their answers will only make a bad situation worse. So let me ask Mr. Kennedy again. If we want to make America healthy, will you assure the American people that you will fight to do what every other major country on earth does, guarantee health care to every single American?
I'm going to make America.
I'm going to let him finish that. Guarantee health care is the silliest and craziest and diabolical thing I've ever heard. If you eat right and you're doing the things you're supposed to, you don't need guaranteed health care. What does that even mean? Guaranteed health care. The problem is people got 4 and 5 comorbidities because they trash their body, and then the pharmaceutical industry have a vested interest in giving you prescription drugs and instead of helping you live a better lifestyle. Many people that are listening to this right now, if you cut carbohydrates out of your diet, or at least sugar out of your diet, you probably would feel better. Your stomach probably would work better. Many of you guys probably should do a carnivore diet. I don't know. I believe that the diet is based on the individual. Some of y'all could do a vegetarian diet or whatever it could be. What you need to do is stop eating processed foods and snacks and all this stuff and expect for you to be healthy. If you want to get nasty, then be nasty. But don't expect to be healthy. Yeah, and then you expect it. You should be guaranteed health care. No, let's fix the problem, not give people free stuff exacerbating the problem. Because if you have free health care, but you don't change people's behaviors, you're just going to have more and more people living reckless. Because if I know I can go to the doctor to get triple bypass and all this stuff, I'm going to do everything I want to do. Because I ain't got to worry about the cost of doing business at the hospital every other weekend. And what happens is the healthy people end up paying for sick people's service. That's pretty much how this works. People that do what they're supposed to do, and I know it's hard because it's hard for me. I gained a bunch of weight over the last couple of years. I still look good because I got the Tatum genes. But what am I doing? I wasn't exercising consistently. I eat whatever I want to eat, trashing my body with that stuff, and stressing out, not sleeping. That's how you get bigger. That's how you get unhealthy. And what you do to change that is you start living a better lifestyle, cutting out some of the sweets, moderating the things you do. Instead of drinking a Coke, drink a Diet Coke. They taste almost the same. Instead of going for a drink that got a bunch of sugar in it, go for the non-sugarish drink. You start doing those things, you start living better, you start feeling better, then you don't have to be at the hospital all the time. Some people will have illnesses and stuff they can't control, but it's manageable if you don't have everybody living a life that they shouldn't be living if they just ate better and exercise. All you got to do is get up and walk. You can walk around your house, but if you're sitting on the couch, they can't help you. Let let RFK finish rolling.
Healthier than other countries in the world right now.
Will you guarantee do what every other major country does? That's a simple question.
And by the way, Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry.
And
protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money.
Contributions from workers all over this country. Workers,
you were the
not a nickel from corporate
Bernie,
PACs.
you were the single largest acceptor of pharmaceutical dollars.
No, from workers in
1.5 million.
Yeah, out of 200 million. All right, but
wait a minute. But hold on. These people are fake. grandstanding. You are the can you admit that you're gonna do whatever the other country has done to he taking money. These people, they lying, they fake, they evil. All of them, man. That's one time I was thinking about, or at one point I was thinking about, maybe I should run for office. My wife was like, no, you never do it. If God called me to do it, my wife gonna have to be mad at me. Be mad at God. Don't be mad at me. But I'm afraid to a certain degree that when I get there, I'm gonna realize it's a bunch of bull crap. Your favorite politician is getting drunk on the weekend and picking up hookers and probably got an OnlyFans account. Your favorite politician, the one you like the most, the one that's supposed to be most Christian and all that other stuff that you love about him or her, is doing dirt. Lauren Boebert was an example of that. She got her boobs out at the things, vaping and then lied to you about it. She can't keep us, the family or kid, out of control. I'm like, I don't even know if it's real what we see. That man, Bernie, just grandstanded, cutting RFK off, and he taking more money. He's the single most receiver of big pharma payments. And that means people in the industry, not necessarily just the CEO or companies, but most of the people in that industry supported him. Why is that? Why are we still talking about our healthcare being a problem when Bernie Sanders has been in Congress for I don't know how many decades? All these people that are talking and grandstanding and acting like RFK is the devil, all of them have been in Congress for a very long time. Why haven't y'all done anything about it? Why did it take a century? I don't think we've been bad. I say, why did it take about 60 years for us to finally have somebody that say, I'm going to put an end to this. I'm going to actually step in and say we shouldn't have food dyes in our food that they don't put in food in Europe. Why do some people get a healthier option with the same product that they sell here in America and they sell other places? They get the healthy one, we get the bad one. Why is it that every time you go to the doctor, they're trying to prescribe you some medication? Why? Think about this. When you give birth to a child, why do they not all perform delayed cord clamping? That's when you let the placenta completely pump all the nutrients and blood, and when it stops pumping, you cut the cord off and separate the placenta. Why don't every hospital do that? Why don't every hospital allow the mother, as a service to the hospital, take the placenta and make them into pill form so the woman can consume the placenta? Why won't they do that? Because they sell your placenta for $30,000 or so. That's why they don't. They need the placenta to be plump and retain as much as it can. So they cut their umbilical cord, they take your placenta off somewhere, and they sell it. Instead of saying, let the placenta fully give the baby everything the baby needs, and then we'll separate the placenta. And let us preserve the placenta for the mama to use any way that she believes she can. They're not doing that at the hospital for you. They're not even telling you. They don't give you a list of vaccines they're going to get your baby. And then you get to look at the risk and reward. How do you know, Brandon? I've had 2 kids. My first kid, they didn't tell me nothing about nothing. Oh, no, you rub this on his eyes. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, you rub it on his eyes. Oh, you got to get a baby, got to get a shot for this and PV and hepatitis and all kind of stuff. Bloop, 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 baby crying. I'm like, I thought that's it. Your baby got to, all this other stuff, man. And then you just do what they tell you to do. You don't know no better. Why in the world would they not teach you? It wasn't until I took a birthing class, a real birthing class, and I had a doula that I understood, like, whoa, there's a whole bunch of stuff involved in this. You don't have to have a baby at the hospital. You don't have, and I'm not suggesting that people don't have a baby at the hospital. My wife had to because she's diabetic. But like, I thought everybody had a baby at the hospital. And if you didn't, I thought you were cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But then once they explain it, you're like, well, wait a minute. Yeah, the cuckoo part is sitting up in the chair on your back with your legs up with no, there's no gravitational pull. And when I was in the birthing class, because most women in the birthing class were on their second baby or they were going to have a home birth, that the woman could walk around while she's in labor and do whatever she needs to do and get in the best position that's comfortable for her to push the baby out. Whoa. That does make sense. Whoa. You don't need to be laying on a table in an uncomfortable position. They got you hooked up to all this stuff and shoot a freaking thing in your back this big. I remember when my first son was born and they shot that epidural in her back. We were young. We didn't know nothing. She said epidural because the lady down the hall was screaming like her throat about to come out. They said epidural. I remember they walked in. She was facing me. I was facing the door. We were face to face. I could see around her. Doctor came in and that needle was this big. I was like, ooh. But I couldn't show it on my face because she looking at me. I'm like, oh, no, bro. God dang. That thing was like this round too. I was like, oh, my God. Where you going to put that at? Ooh, right in the back. I didn't know that women pelvis rupture and tears and all kind of stuff because they can't feel nothing. Hey, man, I know it costs money. I'm willing to sponsor somebody, especially if you do with the doula that we did our birthing class with. I'm willing to sponsor a person every year or something, whatever. If you follow me and you want to do that doula class, you contact me. I'll pay for it for you. I think it's like $100 and some. That was the best experience I've ever had. Why do they not teach you this in school? And you got to have money to have access to a better lifestyle, and it shouldn't be like that. They should be teaching all of this stuff in school. They should be teaching you that at the hospital. I don't get it. It's all about big pharma. They want to give you a pill. They want to give you a pill that you need a pill for to take the pill that you already had a pill for. It's honest to God true. Go to the doctor right now and say, oh, man, my throat is kind of sore. Man, they're going to give you a pill. They're going to say, where's your pharmacy? All right, you can go down to the pharmacy and pick up this stuff that you can get across the counter. That's what they do, man. I mean, every single hospital I've ever been to, they always trying to prescribe me something. And not one of them told me, Brandon, this is your route to having a better life. You need to work out. You need to eat healthier. Here's foods that are healthy to eat. Here's the regimen that you should probably do. Here's my exercise you need a day. Here's your body fat and all this stuff. Like the doctor won't tell you none of that. They'll just say, here's the pill. I'm just saying. All right, let's get to the next story because we run out of time. We got lunch, man. Reggie out there whipping it up in the kitchen. Let's talk about the MMA fighter, Bruce Mitchell, who had some words to say about Hitler. So this is the only clip that I have. I kind of wish I'd have watched the entire clip because I think he may have given a little more context. I don't know if what he said here is the totality of what he was trying to say. So I'll give him that. I can't judge him too completely because this is not a complete statement. This is a statement in part. Roll the clip.
Hitler, hell and the Nazis. I really don't think that he was because I honestly think that Hitler was a good guy based upon my own research, not my public education indoctrination. I really do think before Hitler got on meth, he was a guy to go fishing with. He fought for his country. He wanted to purify it by kicking the greedy Jews out that were destroying his country and turning them all into gays. They were gaying out the kids. They were queering out the women. They were queering out the dudes. They were, you know what her first tranny surgery ever was? Happened to be in Germany before Hitler took over. You know the books that everybody makes fun of Hitler burning? You know what the books was? Queer books. Hitler burned queer books because Hitler didn't want a bunch of queers destroying his nation. They can't.
Okay, so that's the only clip that I have. There's probably more to it. Now, what is my thoughts on this? Obviously, Dana White spoke on it. Dana White was pretty ticked off when he spoke. But my first thoughts when I saw this is that's that man's opinion. I don't care what he said. I'm not researching Hitler and all this other stuff, but that's his opinion. Maybe that's what he see. I don't see that. I also ain't done a lot of research, but I didn't see that. I think Hitler was a monster the whole time. I just think it kept getting worse. When you kill that many Jews, I don't know what to say about you other than you going to hell. And he was a monster. Now, am I mad that man had an opinion like that? No, I don't. Like, if I'm really so upset about it, I'll just, hey, let's debate then. I'll debate you so the public can get a fair synopsis. I don't get mad at stuff like that. I'm not in my feelings. Somebody came on and said, black people are the worst people in America. Black people do this. Every black person is dumb. It's like, I don't agree with that. Maybe that's how you feel. Maybe what did you read to make you draw that conclusion? And if I really cared enough, I'd ask him. But I don't care because that's his opinion. And I don't believe that to be true. I think Hitler was a monster. I don't know. Maybe he came in it with good intentions. I don't know. And then but at some point it went bad. Because I think a lot of politicians go into stuff with good intentions. And it goes south. I don't know if there's any scenario where you put people in internment camps and all that stuff. I don't know where anybody think that's the right way to go. I don't, especially innocent people ain't done nothing. People just working there and they believe in their stuff. You got kids in there. Like, you doing way too much. I get it. If there was some people doing some stuff in the degenerate culture, but you don't put them in gulags and stuff. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to innocent people burned alive and gassing them and stuff. They couldn't have been that bad. You know, the left is the left is doing everything he said that the Jews did. We don't want to burn. I want them to stop. I want them to leave. I wish we could separate the country, but I don't think we should put them in a camp. I just think you overcome stupidity and foolery with intelligence, just like we did. And I'm not saying the Jews did this. I'm saying what he said the Jews did. I don't know. I haven't studied much about any of it, to be quite honest. I don't know what Jews were doing. Clearly there was a catalyst to this, but I don't know in detail what actually happened. When I went to the Holocaust Museum, it's probably called something else. I called it the Holocaust Museum when I was in Israel. And it was horrific. I saw that stuff in there, and they even had videos of them with dump trucks pushing all the bodies into a mass grave. And I was like, that's crazy. And the first thing that came to my mind is like, what made this man want to do this? Like, what was he think? Like, what's his explanation for doing this? And I'm not saying it's a good one. I'm just want to know what was he saying to people? Like, what was he? Think about this. People went along with it. The churches didn't even say nothing about it. What was he saying that had people believing that what he was doing was right? That's one thing that came to my mind. What was he saying? Was he doing like the Democrats do today? Where they pick a group of people and they demonize them and they isolate and they get all these celebrities on their side and they get everybody on their side and we looking like, and the church don't say nothing, and we looking in the mirror like, well, wait a minute. Why is the church allowing or supporting politicians who unalive the unborn? It's the same thing the churches were doing in Germany with Hitler. Like, they weren't standing up against Hitler, not all of them. Many of them were quiet while it was running rampant, what he was doing. The Democrat Party, that's why I want to know, what was he saying? Because I believe the Democrat Party doing the same thing. They doing the same thing, y'all. And not the exact same thing, but they doing something very similar. If you listen to the way they talk, they demonize conservatives to the point that leftists think we all should die. If you could leave it up to leftists, they would love to see us burn in a trench somewhere. They too weenie to shoot you or nothing. But they would love to see somebody else shoot us and throw us in a pond. They think we're the scum of the earth. And every day their politicians push it more and more and more and more and more. They push it. Trump is a Hitler. Trump is this. Trump is this. They hate Jews. Like, they hate Jews. They say the Palestinians are on stolen land. I mean, the Jews on stolen land from the river to the sea, intifada, whatever they say. The Democrats are pushing and elevating voices that believe this. Look at Ilhan Omar, Congress members on the Democrat side. In my opinion, they're more like Hitler than anybody else. But Dana White didn't like what Bruce said. Let's go to Dana White's clip real quick because I want y'all to hear what Dana White said. Wrote a clip.
So before we get started here, let me get some fucking dumb shit out of the way first here. I'm out here have fun doing Power Slap tonight, and I'm sure you guys heard what Bryce Mitchell said. If you haven't, he said some probably.
Say Bruce is Bryce.
I've heard a lot of dumb, ignorant shit in my day, but this one's probably the worst.
Bryce,
when you talk about Hitler, he was responsible for the death of 6 million Jews, and he tried to completely eliminate a race of people. World War II was the deadliest war in history. 15 million military deaths, 45 million civilians, and 25 million soldiers were killed in World War II. Second of all, Hitler was one of the most disgusting and evil human beings to ever walk the face of the earth, and anyone that even tries to take an opposing position is a moron. That's the problem with the internet and social media. You provide a platform for a lot of dumb, ignorant people. We've obviously reached out to Bryce, and when we read what he said and let him know how we feel about it, I don't even, we're beyond disgusted. So, for those of you that don't know what's going on, good, you're lucky. For those of you that do, that's what I have to say about it.
Yeah, so Dana White, obviously the president of UFC, this, Bryce. If I said Bruce, I'm sorry. It was written down Bruce. It's Bryce. I may have said his name right the first time. So he's a UFC fighter. I just didn't. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm desensitized to stuff. I don't care what people say. I like. People say stuff all the time I disagree with, and I'm like, I don't like what that person said, but I really don't care because everybody's entitled to say what they want to say. It's crazy because when people talk about white people, there's no legitimate pushback. Like if somebody got on television and said white people are the biggest threat to the world, they're genocidal colonizers, and they should be wiped from the face of earth, I honestly think there wouldn't be nobody that covered it on the left, and nobody would even say anything about it. If you say something about Jews, and I don't know if it's what it is, you on fire, brother. And I don't know if it's because Jewish people don't take it like white people do, right? I mean, maybe that's what it is. Maybe white people need to start standing up for themselves. When somebody, you start talking about white people are the biggest threat to America, all right. White people run all kind of companies. All right, keep talking. We ain't working with you. We not working with you. You gonna lose your sponsorships talking about white people. Maybe white people need to start doing that. Jewish people don't play with that. You start talking about that, your donations gone, your support gone. You done. You can talk about black people. Liberals will counsel you, but black people ain't gonna do nothing to you unless you white. You a Jewish person, you talk about black people. You Hispanic, you talk about black people. You black, you talk about black people. Black people ain't gonna protest or nothing. So maybe instead of people being like Jews, you can't say nothing about the Jews. You can't say nothing about the Jews. Or maybe y'all need to be acting like the Jews. You start running your mouth too much about white folk, maybe they need to stand up for themselves. I don't know, but I do know that Bryce Mitchell, I don't think that way. I don't agree with what he said. I also couldn't care less He could think Hitler was a good person. I don't know. I don't care. Same thing with Kanye West. We need to stop getting mad at talking about the Nazis all the time. I understood what he was saying, but he just didn't say that right. You know, when you look at the totality of perspective, if you want to isolate accomplishments, yeah, obviously Nazi Germany developed a lot of stuff that y'all using today. A lot of brands that you still wearing on your back today. A lot of cars that you still driving today. All that, some of that was inspired during that period of time in Germany when the Nazis had control. A whole bunch of inventions came out of that. So if you want to look at it like that, you can say, yeah, there were some things that they did that benefit the world. I don't think that them killing people was a part of that benefit. And they should be condemned for doing that. It was wrong, clearly. But if you isolate it, you say, oh, yeah, they probably did some great stuff at some point. But it all gets overshadowed when you do something that evil. That's like somebody, you know, let me see. It wouldn't be Lance Armstrong, because I just personally have a beef with Lance Armstrong gaslighting people when he got caught cheating. But that's like saying Joe Biden gave money to cancer research at one time, right? But then he destroyed America. It's like, yeah, you did something good. You had some positive things that you did. But, bro, the overarching theme of your life and legacy is that you destroyed America. So nobody cares, right? Did Hitler do some great things? Hitler may have probably was nice to people that was Nazis and Aryan, but it don't matter when you kill the millions of Jews. I mean, I guess people can say it's fortunate or unfortunate. I don't know, man, but bro, when your legacy is a murderer, I mean, you kind of like nothing that you do matters anymore, and somebody else has to take credit for that. I know a lot of people that have done a lot of good, but they evil as a mug, like T.D. Jakes, Joe Osteen. Like, in my personal opinion, I think that at the end of the day, T.D. Jakes, Joe Osteen, all these fake Christians, maybe they were real pastors and they turned rogue. I think at the end of the day, they're going to get a bad reputation from the Lord. I think they ain't going to hear no well done, my faithful servant. I don't think they're going to hear nothing positive. But did they do some good? Did they get people into the church? Yeah, they did. But the show did water that gospel down. And the Bible says, Jesus told him, if you were ashamed before man, or I'm paraphrasing, if you are shameful before man, deny me before man, I'm going to deny you before the Father. And denying Christ before man is capitulating to this one-size-fit-all approach that everybody's inclusive and Jesus isn't the only way. Joe Osteen pretty much said Jesus wasn't the only way. Most of y'all don't know because you don't look up Joe Osteen. You just think he's a good motivational speaker. But Joe Osteen pretty much said, Oprah, who's endorsed, Oprah said it was multiple ways. T.D. Jakes is on a council with a multi-faith council, meaning that all the faiths together and they all agree. And Joel Osteen made mention that people come to Christ through different ways. I mean, not Christ. They come to God through different ways. He didn't say Christ. He was on Howard Stern's show and asked him a question. I was so shocked that he wouldn't say Jesus was the only way, and then he wouldn't say homosexuality was wrong. He didn't even have to say homosexuality. He didn't even have a scripture to promote. There's a whole bunch of pastors out here that cutting up. They made some good music, though. I tell you what, some of them, I still sing to their stuff. That was a good song, but you dirtier than a dog. So the moral of the story is, if you want your legacy to continue, nobody cares if you did anything good if the last thing you did was murder and hurt people. All right, I got one more story that I want to say, and then I'm going to get up out of here because I got to go eat. The last story is this police officer encounter. So before we watch this, let me state the obvious. Black people do this more than anybody else in America, in American history. I don't know how many times people got to get into a confrontation with police officers before they wake up and realize there is no winning confrontations with police officers, especially like this. And also, this goes for black, white, and anybody else. Don't be such a pompous idiot that don't know the law, yet you yell at the cop about the law. Just so you know, cops do this every day. This is your first or second or third time you've been pulled over. this one cop has probably pulled over 5,000 people. And if he's been working for 20 years, he probably pulled over 100,000 people. So this your second and third rodeo, he been doing this. You ain't never been to court to defend any of your tickets. He been to court 1,000 times to defend all kinds of tickets that he had to write people. They remember the statute like the back of their head. Quit acting like you know what you're talking about because you went to law school for a couple years. I want to present this to you too. No offense to my lawyers. In most cases, police officers understand the law better than lawyers do. Why do you say that, Brandon? Because we actually have to apply the law in real life. A lawyer is researching and studying the law in the text of the law, somewhat historical spirit of the law. But we are actually having to deal with the ramifications and nuances of the application of the law. So when a lawyer tell you, oh, no, you can't pull my client over for this and this and that, and it's like, how many people have you pulled over ever? None. Well, let me give you the nuance, the detail of how a traffic stop works that most lawyers don't understand. That's why cops win a lot in court. Now, do they win over lawyers most of the time? Probably not. But they win a lot in court. I've never lost in court. I even defended some police officers as an expert witness. It was easy. I mean, I ain't gonna lie, it was easy. They put their best lawyer against me to cross-examine me, direct and cross-examine me, and it was easy. Because I understand what a taser is. I understand how the taser function. I understand the use of force policy and the force continuum associated with a taser because I have to do it every single day of my life in person, in real life, real people. I'm not in the office looking like it says that you're supposed to transition from this to lethal. I know all that. I do it every day. I do it every week. I used to have to escalate force on people every week. Anyway, let's get to this traffic stop. This is what you should not do. Roll the clip.
I got a dash cam going. I'm gonna give you about 0.2 seconds explaining to me what you pulled me over for, because I have not committed any traffic violations.
The tag. You can't have that design.
Yes, sir, you can't. I'm a third-year law student. This is not something you want to do.
Let me see your driver's
my shirt,
license, please.
Okay. What is the? First of all, that's not. Get your watch coming out here now.
Hillsborough 2 Delta.
Now.
Can I get a 1094?
Get your. Let me call your sheriff, just so you know.
Don't call the sheriff.
I will right now.
Don't call the sheriff.
In case you can see my shirt.
Can I see your driver's license?
What's your lawful command of pulling me over?
316-605.
Flood statute. Okay. Let me get your watch coming out here now. Get your watch coming out here now. And that body camera.
Let me see your driver's license.
You will not. Okay.
Let me see your driver's license.
Okay.
2 Delta 15. Can I have
Get your watch coming out here now.
Get out of the car.
You will
give
not.
me your driver's license.
Okay.
Give me your driver's license now.
Okay. This is what
give me your driver's license now.
You have no lawful reason to open this door.
Driver's license now.
You have no lawful reason to open this door.
Driver's license
Back
now.
the hell up now.
Driver's license
this
now.
This body camera is going.
Driver's license now.
This is what I'm going to do before I pull it out.
10-4. Driver's license now.
Get them on the phone. Get your watch commander out here now.
Give me your driver's license now.
Get your watch commander out here now.
Give me your driver's license now.
You will not take it.
Give me your driver's license.
Baby, I'm being...
Stop. Give me your driver's license.
Officers trying
Give
to
me your
grab my
driver's
arm.
license now.
Okay.
Give me your license.
He has a weapon pointed at me.
Unbuckle your seatbelt with your right hand now.
Okay. Get your watch commander out here now.
Unbuckle your seatbelt with your right hand now.
Okay.
Just calm down.
Okay.
Just calm down. Just calm down.
Keep your hand there.
You just sparked the lawsuit.
Keep your hand there.
He has a weapon pointed at me.
Do not move. Get out of the car.
You will not make me get out of this car.
Get out of this car now. Get out of this car now. Get out of this car now.
Okay.
Keep your hand on the steering wheel.
Okay.
Stay right there. Do not move.
Get your
Do
watch
not
out here now.
move.
That body camera better be
Do
rolled.
not
That body
move.
camera better be rolled. You will not point that weapon at me. I have done no unlawful criminal commands. This is a civil traffic stop. You have no lawful reason to pull that weapon out on me just because we're having a verbal disagreement. You have lost your mind. Your badge will be removed today. You can best believe that.
How did a traffic stop turn this crazy? And this guy threw out at the beginning that he's a lawyer. He went to law school. This is why he may have. This is why I'm telling you, police understand the law and nuance of use of force and stuff much better than lawyers actually do. This guy got a Black Lives Matter shirt on. That's what the shirt he's talking about. Then the police officer is using the appropriate amount of force, use of force continuum to the T. He started with a verbal command, police presence. Then he had to escalate. He raised his voice. He gave him direct commands. He opened the door. He gave him requests to do so. Once the guy alluded to the fact that he's not getting out of the car, that he's going to passively resist, then he escalated his use of force to a taser. Didn't deploy the taser, but he threatened him with the taser. And all of that. And then he used hard hand control. So then he gained control of his hand. I mean, all of these things are in the use of force continuum. And he's doing it to the cop is doing his job to the T. Now, this guy that's in the car is escalating this situation. Now, could the cop have de-escalated? I think he could have. Did he have to? No, he didn't have to. He don't have to kiss everybody but on the side of the freeway. He could have de-escalated a little bit. Maybe I would have. I don't know, depending on the circumstance. But when you find out the rest of the story, because it gets worse, when you find out the rest of the story, you'll see that the use of force continuum that he used and the fact of getting him out of the car and everything was 100% the right decision to make. 100%. Roll the clip.
We were just sitting here arguing. I never did anything unlawful to you. Have you lost your mind?
Just do what he says.
He has a weapon pointed at my face. Baby, I need you to get. I need you to get. I need you to get the attorney on the phone now.
Stop. Stop fighting now.
Baby,
Stop
baby, you're gonna have to go get
now.
the kids.
Stop fighting now.
I am on cane.
Get out of the car.
I cannot stand on my own.
Get out of the
feet.
car.
I cannot stand on my own.
Get out of the car.
If you see the second row,
now.
you will see there's two canes there.
Get out of the car.
I cannot stand on my own.
Get out of the car.
I just had surgery.
Then get out and lay down.
Okay, just calm
Stop
down.
fighting.
Get your watch.
Now.
You will not put those
Stop
cuffs on
fighting.
me.
I'm going to tase you right now. Get out.
You will
now.
not put those cuffs
Get
on
out
me.
now. You are about to be tased.
Okay.
You're about to be tased.
You're going to be stripped of your badge today. You're going to be stripped today.
Get down. Get down.
He has a weapon pointed at me,
Get
baby.
down
Get
now.
attorney, baby. I need you to get attorney Malik
Get
Shabazz on the phone
down
now.
Get on the ground now. Get on the ground. I don't want to pull you down if you have a bad back. Then slow down
my back.
and get down.
You cannot make me get on my back. Sir, I'm going to lean here.
Get
This is what I
down.
will do.
Get down. I'm telling you right now. If you don't get down, if you don't get down,
baby.
if you don't get down right now.
Okay.
Baby, stop.
Okay. This is what I'm going to do.
What an abusive, manipulative person. He draw his woman into this. I guess him and his wife are arguing on the side of the road, but he draw her into this screaming, embellishing his experience with this cop to make her feel guilty and afraid when all he had to do was say, okay. Now, I'm going to speed it up for you so you guys don't have to watch the whole thing. We could probably we'll send a clip to this or something like that. We could probably find a way to get it to you. But I'm going to speed it up for you. What happened was he had a license plate that somebody manually painted over a certain image, which is not lawful in the state of Florida. You can't paint over the license plate with whatever image that you want. And so he had like Darth Vader or something on his license plate right in the middle of the plate, and that's against the law. And if he actually went to law school, he would know that's one of the license plates that are not approved by law. Unless something else is different other than the statute and the police officer showing him the website, because when he was in the back of the patrol car, he showed him the website of all approved license plates. His license plate was not approved. That's all it was a citation. And to be honest, he could have taken a citation, and if the cop was wrong, he would have won it in court. And he could have sued if he felt like the cop was racially profiling or whatever the case may be. These corrupt leaders or attorneys will take that case in a heartbeat. So he ended up getting a ticket. He ended up getting arrested because he was resisting arrest without force, is what the statute said that the cop arrested him for, because he was under arrest once he refused to give his identification. I don't know why people keep playing games with this. When you are on a traffic stop, you are detained. It's a detainment. Technically, you're not free to leave. Once a cop detains you with lights and, he can detain you. That's why cops really can't interrogate you. They have to reach your Miranda rights if they're going to interrogate you related to a crime that you may have committed. They can't do it because when the lights is detention, Questioning is interrogation. You have to read Miranda if a person is detained and you're interrogating them. You don't have to read Miranda to somebody if you arrested them, which 90% of the people that are watching this probably don't understand that. When you get arrested, they don't have to reach your Miranda rights. People think, you arrested me, you got to read my rights. No, they don't. They only have to reach your rights if you're detained and they're going to question you, and the questioning could be incriminating to you. They have to let you know that you have a right to have an attorney and you don't have to answer their questions. Because those two elements, detention and interrogation, yields Miranda. So they can't go through this full rigmarole with you once they pull you over because you're detained. You really can't leave without the cop finishing what he's supposed to be doing. And so when you tell them, I'm not going to participate in this, then you're interfering with an investigation, right? Because the cop has a right to investigate what he pulled you over for. And then when you don't get out of the car, you are, it depends on the state. They have different laws. You're disobeying a lawful command. You're doing it again. They by law, they can use force to pull you out of the car. They have a right to then detain you out of the car. And if you resist, then you technically are resisting detention. If they've designated that they're going to arrest you, you're resisting arrest. You go down a whole path of crimes, Mr. Lawyer, that you don't understand you've committed until you get in the back of the car and you think it's just a traffic stop. No, you've committed like 4 or 5 crimes right now. They may be nice enough to just not charge you with all of them. So if a cop pull you over, and I think most of you guys know this, even if you mad, you peed off, you're irritated with him, the more you comply and listen, the worse it's going to be. Most cops, if you're listening and you kind of got a good excuse while you were speeding, they'll give you a warning. They may just give you a warning and let it go. They may just give you a ticket. But you can also fight the ticket in court. Yeah, you may not feel like going. You may not have the time to go. But doing what he did is no way to do it. Yeah, if you live in California, the judge will let you off even though you committed these crimes. You do this in Texas, you do this in Georgia, you do this in Alabama, you do this in Louisiana, you're going to jail. You in California, they'll rub your booty and tell you everything's going to be okay. But please, oh please, just follow the police commands. I've gotten pulled over maybe 3 times in my life as an adult. The other time I was going 90-something in that big old red truck, and I pulled myself over. I was driving. I saw him. I said, oh, I ain't even finna make you get onto the freeway. I'm gonna pull off to the side. I had my gun in the truck. Officer, roll my window down so he feels safe. And he gave me a ticket. I had Blue Lives Matter and everything on there. Officer Tatum, black officer. My license plate is black cop. So he still gave me a ticket, and I wasn't mad at him. I say, hey, you right, man. I can't argue. I knew I was speeding. Now, when he asked me how fast I was going, I said, I don't know. But I knew I was going faster than the speed limit. That I do know. And he said, man, I'm sorry, man, but I got to give you a ticket, man. You know, it's I can't treat you any different than anybody else. I'm like, man, thank you. You doing your job, bro. You ain't got to apologize to me. Although I'm a former cop and I support police, don't mean that I can speed. So if I speed, you catch me, officer? You got me. If I didn't want a ticket, I wouldn't have sped. And when you ask me for my driver's license, registration, insurance, here you go, officer. You come back with a ticket. I don't want a ticket, but I got to say, yes, sir. You're right. You can take the diversionary class. You can pay the fine. I should have actually taken the driver's ed class. I just paid it. I said, oh, I'll just pay this. I'm not finna drive away to Douglas somewhere 4 hours away from my house to go to court. So I'm going to pay it or take the defensive driving classes. But anyway, we got some super chats, or it's not working?
Oh, yeah, super chats are up. Let me just pull it up.
All right, I'm going to get to y'all super chats, and I got to go eat. Just got to, you hit refresh?
Yeah, let me refresh that.
I could probably look at them on my phone.
It's okay. Let me try it again.
Yeah, don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. Let me just see if I can see the super chats here, and then we can go from there. Yeah, no, let me see if I can. I'm sorry, y'all. We'll see if I get the super chats in here. Not a big deal at all. No, it's all good, brother. Yeah, man, y'all give Trent a shout out. This is first full day by itself. Literally, from start to finish, only person here editing videos, doing content, preparing content. So y'all give him a round of applause. I go through the super chats. I got it right here on my phone. Cowpoke Ranch. Over the past year, I've noticed every large-scale atrocity has been blamed on DEI, even when it's clearly not the case. Something sinister is afoot. Yeah, I don't like the DEI stuff. I mean, yeah, DEI is a problem, but not everything is the DEI thing. You know what I mean? Like, anyway. Extra, thanks so much for the $20 super chat. It says the problem for ATC and hiring is that people who can make the cut just aren't joining the career field. For years, we've been undermanned. Need some ways to attract new and retain existing controllers. So Extra understand the industry very well. That's how policing is. Like, there's a lot of great cops out there, man. There's a ton of great cops out there. They just don't want to be cops. Like, people that are athletes that play football, like people that have that background of teamwork and camaraderie and work ethic and stuff like that, they become really good police officers. But why would you become a police officer and lose your whole life because you have to shoot a person that happen to be black? Let's see. Dog Mama, thanks so much for another super chat. You were featured on The Reckoning YouTube yesterday. Yeah, you know that YouTube?
I think they clipped a portion of your broadcast and sort of reacted to it.
Oh, The Reckoning. Look that up for me because I don't even know who The Reckoning is. That's pretty cool. I'm honored. As long as they cool. I don't know if they cool. I think they cool. Ronnie, thanks so much for the super chat. It says Daniel Fast, probiotics, exercise, and eat clean. My brother have had strokes and heart attacks, and here I am, 5'7", 195, eat healthy and use supplements, no soda, coffee, and water. So I guess no soda, drink coffee and water. 38 years old. Hold on. Age are 38, 39, me, 41, and 48. Yeah, I think it's that simple, man. I mean, look at the people who are fit and, listen to what they say and throw away what you think is superfluous. But I even have to admit to that, man. How am I going to expect to be healthy and live a long life if I'm not taking care of myself? Yeah, I want to eat them Debbie cakes every day, but what are they going to get? Where are they going to get me? And then when I do all of that and I'm still sick, then I have a problem. But let's see. Nicole, thanks so much for the super chat. Side note, eyewitness on TikTok are stating they saw what happened to be shooting stars before the accident. That's kind of conspiratorial. 42H1B ATCs work in the U.S. with 2 hired every year. Let's see. Cindy, thanks so much for the super chat. Free speech. Love it. Hold on, y'all. I got an ad that popped up. Free speech. Love it. That being said, I live by and teach my kids just because you can doesn't mean you should. Will your words build up or destroy? I love that. Mr. Joe, appreciate the great content. Hey, thank you so much. The Pirate King, thanks so much for joining the Tatum squad and also being a member for a month. Let's see, Kesh stood on business today. I love that, man. Appreciate it. I should have covered Kesh Patel, but I had too much stuff going on. And I didn't want to put too much on my boy Trent, man. It's his first day, and he killed it. So it was first day doing it all from start to finish. But anyway, I love you guys, man. Thank y'all for joining me on a Friday. I hope y'all have a tremendous phenomenal weekend. God bless you. God bless America. Y'all stay tuned. Tell your friends about the show. We do it at 10:30 Pacific Standard Time every single day. And then when the time zone change, we'll keep up with the time zone. We'll just change here because Arizona don't change time. All of y'all need to get on board. So I appreciate you, everybody that joined the Tatum Squad, Tatum Force. I love you. Everybody that's been supporting me, I'm so appreciative of you. Eventually, we're going to have T-Force ready for you to purchase. Don't look at the label because the green screen is making it distorted. But T-Force come out on the 15th. You can go to Shenergy Life, SHINERG Life. Go to ShenergyLife.com and make sure you hit notify me when made available to get the testosterone booster. If you're a man and you sick of not having the proper supplementation that can help you get stamina, libido, better sleep, I mean, all of it, you can get that if your testosterone levels are better. And so I cannot guarantee that it's going to boost your testosterone to the level that you want it, but I guarantee that the supplements in here encourage testosterone boosting. And I feel great by taking them. You know, I used to take another supplement that I used to tell you guys about from another company, and it was decent. It worked. I thought it worked. It worked good for me, but I decided I want to make one bigger and better and badder, and for you guys to have the ultimate and the best that I can provide, right? I thought the other supplement was good. This one is much better. And my formulator is coming up. We're formulating right now an even better one. So that's going to come out a little later as we get that one. But right now, the T-Force that we have works for me. You can look up all the ingredients on our website. So if you go to the website, you look up the ingredients, do your own research, validate what's in the supplement, and if it works for you. If you would ask me, I think this is one of the best on the market. And for this price point, you ain't going to get nothing better than this at this price point. And when we roll out our new advanced one, I think it's going to be even better. But obviously the price point is going to be a little bit more. All right? But get you some of this today. We have a limited run. I think we're going to sell out as soon as the 15th hit, and as soon as we make it live, we're going to sell out. I think there's almost as many people that hit notify me when made available as we have in stock as for the product. So if you're interested in this, you're going to have a limited window to get it. It's a 30-day supply. Anyway, love you guys. See you on the next one. We out.
Oh, the land of the free and the home of the